This event was curated by someone who had just more than passion. She had a fire within her. I am blessed to know her, and also a lot of you may know her intimately. Some of you are being introduced to her for the very first time. And let me tell you, she's got fire in her belly. And when I see that just from a dream, she decided to, involve other people and invite other people. There's this narrative that needs to be shifted that, women don't support women. Women don't invite other women. Women don't even care for other women. We're raising them. May we be them. We have been supported by them. And as I said earlier, they're calling it a village. Whatever you want to call it, I hope you expand your network here. I'm calling her my sister moving forward. I was telling my mother what I'm going to be doing on Friday morning. And she said, hey, okay, make sure you send me pictures of her. Is she elegant? I said, yeah, she's very, very elegant. Yeah. A lot of questions. But one of the things that I'm blessed to have is a community of women that are not just thinking about where they've been, but they're thinking about where they're going. The theme this year is Flourish and Lead. And of course, someone that walks the walk, talks the talk, is the founder of Networking in Hills. Can I hear a guys? Before I introduce her up on stage, it takes a lot to pull off such an event. And then have other people believe in your dream, right? They say life is like a zoo. We've got the monkeys, we've got the elephants, the monkeys, kind of like the founder, they make you believe in their own hype. Always agile, hyper, talking about this and that. And Violet will go on and on. She's got bigger dreams than what you're seeing this morning. I want you to cheer her on as she comes forward. She has come a long way, and way before buzzwords and events and TikTok and Instagram, I was familiar with networking in heels. I asked her, do I have to come in heels? Because I'm postpartum. She said, yeah, you have to come in heels. So here I am for her. Here I am for her. And of course, I want you to get to know her all over again. She's got layers upon her. And I want you to encourage her as she also opens the floors to our guest speaker. I hope you have your notebooks, your iPad, or whatever, memorize, but we're here for a purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, Violette Wambua, the founder of Networking in Hills. We are connecting women in business in every single platform, and we're starting here for 2025. A round of applause for Violette. Welcome to your show.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Wow. Did you just call me a monkey? I think I did hear a monkey. And yes, I'm very energetic, and I could go on and on. There's nothing off about what you said. You're spot on. Do you want me to keep your things? All right, fantastic. Good morning, ladies. Good morning. I'm so excited to have you here. It is everybody here who has done anything, whether it's a project or whether you are told to cook because guests are coming, whether you're carried a baby, whether you started a course and you are trying to finish it, you know what this morning is for me. The culmination of all the efforts, all the stress. Monday morning was not looking like this, I guarantee you. It was a mess. I was pulling my hair and I was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And I was even wondering, do I even deserve to do this? But then again, I remembered that I have to keep the light on, because for me, what Networking in Hills has been, I give you a brief history. It started off as a place where I just wanted to meet fellow women who are doing business and just learn from them, glean from them, and hopefully they would hold my hand and take me where I wanted to go. Until I realized, they say, you look like you know where you're going, so we're following you. And I was like, no, I was coming to you, now they're coming to me. And it has been a place where I've seen people telling me, hey Violet, I'm so glad I came to that event in August of 2013, and I met so, and that's why I've not been around, because I actually moved to Geneva for work. I'm like, and you didn't take me to Geneva. So then I've come now to honor what I do have. It is a platform. It's a platform for growth, because at the end of the day, the person you're sitting next to could just be the hello you needed. You know that one hello? And that hello may not be for someone who changed your life when they're in this room. It could be, hi, now we are friends, but by the way, you need to meet my uncle so and so, or you need to meet my neighbor, you need to meet, and it goes on and on. Because at the end of the day, they say 6 degrees of separation. So at networking, it means want to compress. I don't want 6 degrees, I want it to be 1-2 degrees, so that then the person you're sitting next to could literally change your life in a year, depending on how the conversation goes. And that is what networking is about. Platform to grow your business, platform to shut down the fear and the discouragement that we get, myself included, a platform to just even give yourself room to shine. It's a place to brag about yourself. Please, ladies, if you're here today, please brag about what you do. Don't apologize and say, it's just a small law firm. Small law firm where? You went through law school, you sweated, and you got to the 9Ps. Then that one don't come easy. I'm as in a one. Exactly. And you now to an And so this is a place where you don't apologize for your achievements. This is a place where you come and say with your chest, I'm the best surgeon in this country. I'm the best whatever, or that this is what I'm doing and I'm aiming to be the best in my field. This is the place to do that, because then if you have that confidence and you carry it out of here and carry it into everywhere you're going. So the theme for this year is Flourish and Lead. I looked at what the UN Women is carrying as a theme for the year, and I wanted to be close to that, so then we don't, we do feed into the general mood of the year. And I chose to say Flourish and Lead but in the place of marching forward. And why I say that is because each and every one of us here, when you take a minute to look at your own life, it looks like a garden. And the garden might have weeds at some points, it's okay, those are seasons. The garden might be dry and barren at some points, those are seasons. And some days your garden is flourishing. You look and you're like, hey, my life is popping, wow, Each of you, has anybody here had a popping season? Please raise your hand so I can be encouraged. Hey, good, yes, I'm coming for your phone numbers. Your life is like a garden, and what I wanted to infuse into this day is about flourishing in your own self and then leading. And of course, we'll break it down in different ways, because once you're flourishing in and within yourself, then you really are not thinking about Violette's garden or Yvonne's garden or the next person's garden. You're thinking, hey, my garden is looking cute. Let me remove that. She'll be so focused in yourself. And when you're busy doing your thing is when we get inspired. Many times we think that I need to see what other people are doing, but you'll be so surprised. We're actually waiting to see what you are doing so that we can be inspired that, hey, Kumbe, if I do this, even me, I can. The day you decide, let me start walking in the neighborhood for 30 minutes. Suddenly your neighbor is like, nilikuona unatembea siku hizi, what I invite them to, I come, we'll be going together. That kind of thing. Someone else decides they're downloading the Step Up app. Who here has a Step Up app? Hey! Who here has been to the Museum of Illusions? Aye, kwani mnaishi wapi? Who here has a Stanley Cup? Aye! You realize how we all influence each other, whether we like it or not. And it's those subtle ways that we end up, you go to the office and you realize, Stanley Cups, because everybody wants Majandumu and all the herbs and the leaves. By the way, I'm talking about myself. Don't worry, I'm not attacking anybody. I'm describing myself. So the idea of flourish and lead is that when you flourish, when you take ownership of your life, when you keep grabbing back the pieces of your life that are left into other people's hands, grab your bit of your time, decide, okay, I know I like this show, let me just watch 2 episodes instead of the 5 that I binged. I am sorry, I was talking to myself. Sorry. Yes, no, it was not about you, my sister. So you take hold of your time and you decide, okay, fine, this life you have to balance. So you watch your TV show, laugh a little bit, grab a book, and entertain, not entertain, but rather grow your mind. Pick up a healthy habit, just one. You start realizing you're influencing other people, even just within your household and your communities. And when you start looking around, by the end of the year, 2 years, people's lives are flourishing around you, and you're like, Evan is doing well, and maybe it was just because of you and your influence in a very small way. So I'm not here to ask you to go around choking people. Why are you not having a stand up? No. Just do what you need to be doing with your own life. And if it's exciting enough, people say, I want my life to look like hers, you know? So I do have a friend of mine who is not here with us in the room today. And she's so organized, and it just comes natural for her. She always has that. And when I met her, because I met her about a decade or so ago, I realized that on her phone there was always a reminder for this, a reminder for the other. And that's how come she was never late to anything, never missed appointments, never forgot to call anybody. You know, she's just, it's in her, she's very militant. She's like, let me call her a drill sergeant in a way. So she knows I'm doing this for 30 minutes. And for her, it's sort of like, she doesn't operate without reminders and those do it all list. You know the to-do list, yes. So for her now, I picked that habit from her, and I got to realize I'm able to tick off more things. I'm yet to become a drill sergeant like her. I have really fallen short of that glory. However, it is so good to just see that without her telling me what to do, I was able to pick up on something I can do to make my life much better. I welcome you to this day. I welcome you to join us at Networking in Hills for yet another edition. I welcome you to Flourish and Lead, and I want you to share with you some remarks if I haven't shared already. And so I have a bit of talking points because I didn't want to forget anything. You know, Monique said earlier about women that we juggle so many roles. You'll be surprised if I make any of you stand and tell me what your life looks like. I know you're wearing more than 4 hats on average. Is that correct? At the very least, 4 hats. Yeah? There's things you're doing that are beyond the job that you do or the business that you run. You could be a mom, and even if you're not a mom, you're that sister in the family that holds everybody and everything together. You know? We are all, in one or another, the zippers. You know the zip of the dress? Those things in whatever community that you find yourself in, and this can really get you to be so stretched and exhausted if you're not watered properly in a way that you stay constantly flourishing. And so, being a carrier of all these hats, you also realize that you have so many. Your story is a story of these challenges, some that have overcome you, and others that you have overcome. Isn't it true? I mean, I know I have battles that have flawed me, and I'm like, do I really, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want this life anymore. And others are like, yes, mutajua mimi ni nani leo. I think we all have gone through that, okay? We have our setbacks, we have our challenges, we have battles conquered, we have the ones that have conquered us. We definitely have shattered glass ceilings in one way or another. There's things that you're doing and you're the first person to do it in your community at the very least. Raise your hands if you're the first to do something in your community. Don't tell me what it is, but if you're the first to do something. I'm not seeing enough hands, and I know, don't think too much. There's a lot of things that you're the first to do. You have to give yourself those flowers. There's a lot of things that you are the first to do in your community, Maybe you're the first person to graduate in the whole extended family. Maybe you're the first person to maybe drive a car. All those things that you're the first one to do. Maybe because other people now around you are doing it, then you think it's normal or kawaida. Yet, really, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for someone as young as you in the family to be running a business, and maybe there are no other young people in the family running businesses, So those are the things that you have to consider that you're doing very well, and constantly clap for yourself. Constantly, yes, please clap for yourself. Asante. You have to constantly clap for yourself, because Violette will forget to clap for you. And then you'll be like, no, this chick is not appreciating me. But honestly, I'm fighting or I'm being fought. So you have to remember to check in with yourself and congratulate yourself for every step that you're making. What I want to say is that your journey is far from over. I promise you, one of the things that I'm not really, really excited about being an adult is that it doesn't end. I really wanted to grow up and be independent, and then I realized, Aishi, Shukisha Dere, Akuna stage, it's not ending. So today you'll conquer, tomorrow you'll be conquered, and it's not ending. And you have to get up again and thank God that He helps us to conquer many, many more times than we are conquered, so that we don't get phased when we are shindwa, isn't it? Yeah, He gives us like an 8 out of 10 victories, and then now the 2 you're able to say, it's okay, I know I have won before. So because you won before, you're like, let's do this again. Because if you let us be defeated 8 out of 10 times, we'd never get up to do it, isn't it? Yes, so just think within yourself and maybe even remind a friend or two the things that you have conquered and those things that really took you flying out of the window, but then again you're back again, like the Avenger you are, to take charge of your life, okay? And I really, really love being a woman because I know the resilience that we all carry. And our resilience comes in different shapes and forms, different textures. Some of us are resilient, others are like, it's okay, another day. So they just act like nothing has happened, and then they'll come back another day, and you will not see them coming, and they'll take over whatever had floored them the previous time. And so those are the qualities I really enjoy about the sisterhood, because I get to see women in their different elements, and I get to see, oh, Nani's style is actually, it's actually good. Might not be better than mine, but it's actually good. And then it will also make me realize that how I deal with matters. I then have become humble. I become humble to realize that I can't say, if it was me, wangejua. No, if it was me, So I become humble to realize that how I deal with matters in my life is not how another person should deal with a similar matter in their life, because we are all wearing the same different shoes, even if we're in the same situation. So how you carry an issue is not how another will carry an issue. And we all have our journeys behind us. The journey that got you to this room today, my journey to this room is different from your journey to this room. So I dare not tell you what you should do with your life, because you are the expert of your life. You know you better than I know you. I can give a commentary that I like the lime jacket, but then that almost means nothing, because I don't even know where you got it from, why you like it, why you put it on. So sorry, I'll think of someone else. So we dare not compare, we dare not compete. We only can cooperate with each other. We can only energize each other. We can only pull each other along, because what you carry, I need. And what I carry, you definitely need. So if I try to say I can do this better than Pauline, then I'm mistaken. Because Pauline carries a whole wealth of wisdom that it takes me a lifetime to get. Simply because first it all starts in her genetics, which I don't carry. So you have to realize that you are the guru of your life, simply because of the genetic composition that you're made of. So honor your genetics today. Honor the makeup of, and honor the composition that your creator gave you and put together to make you, you. And when you honor that, then you'll be able to realize that there's no one better than you, there's no one lesser than you. You are unique, you are so valuable, and no one can take up your space ever. I know in popular culture we say, there's always better, there's always faster, there's always, so we really talk that way so much in a way to dismiss people and to show people that they are almost invaluable. Like, please, if you leave that office, they'll hire someone else tomorrow. As if to say that you are being discarded. It sounds we really sound like we're rubbishing people and tossing them away. And you realize that even if that person loses their seat today and another one takes it over, the experience is totally different for the organization. We experience, fine, we have different presidents, there's always going to be a president, but the experience is different. And that's what I want to encourage you this morning, that as you look in your garden, the garden of your life, to till your garden, to beautify your garden in the ways that you like, in the ways that you experience it, to give you life, to give you hope, to give you excitement. Your garden should be the thing that you want it to be. Your garden should not be the thing I want it to be. Me, I don't only come and see your garden, maybe take a picture and be happy and move along. But I have my own garden to tend to. I hear people saying fagia kwako. Have you heard that? You guys know about fagia kwako? You guys live on the internet? But what I'll say is that, to flourish means to grow in strength, To flourish means to grow in strength. To flourish means to be able to weather the storms, the heavy rains, the hot sun, to basically walk in your strength and in your purpose and be confident in and of yourself. That no matter where you're at this point, you are enough for this moment. Tomorrow will come, and then you will embody what tomorrow needs. But for this particular moment, you're enough for this moment. You need to flourish in this moment, and when you're flourishing, you will lead me to want to flourish. Does that make sense? Yes. Because you will not tell me, Violet, do like me. No. I'll be like, hey, Agnes is looking good. Maybe I should, maybe it's important to also look good, Like the days when we were younger, we used to go to church and all the ladies had headscarves just to cover. And then I know there's just one or two ladies who stopped wearing the headscarves, and me, I don't see headscarves in church anymore. Muliacha kuvaa vitambaa bwana. Or you didn't even grow up seeing them. When's the last time you saw vitambaa in church, guys? Apart from women's guild on their special days. Are you seeing how we influence each other? Yes. So it's just one small thing. Someone decides you're wearing fascinators, and the next day in church, you will see fascinators all over. And not that it's a bad thing. It's just to show you that when you're doing something and others feel it's positive, they'll definitely follow suit. Even if that is not, you didn't stand on a podium to tell them, don't wear headscarves. Trust me. They see, Anani looks good without it. And the day Monique decides to wear a headscarf, we'll all be there rocking headscarves because Monique is looking good in one, So I want to encourage you to grow in your strength, in your purpose, and also in your confidence, okay? When you're leading, you're basically breaking barriers, And it sounds obvious or sounds ominous even to break a barrier, because we imagine that barriers are huge things and being barricaded, but a lot of the barriers are actually in our minds, Maybe nobody locked the door, but because it's closed, you imagine it's locked. But you didn't try to shake it a little bit and see if it's actually open. Just because there's a rope on your neck, there's a story of a donkey that had a rope on its neck, and then it was tied to a bucket, an empty bucket. And so in the donkey's mind, he couldn't move, because now he's basically tethered, and that's his life. And all that donkey needed to do is just move a little bit and realize, this bucket doesn't even have weight. I'm basically not tethered to this spot, I can move. So we need to break the barriers in our minds first. I was listening to, first of all, do you guys listen to podcasts?
Yes.
Who here owns a podcast or runs a blog? It's your space to brag, we will follow. Okay. Well, yes, I saw half a hand. We need more hands. So this person was saying how when they were starting their podcast, they were really scared that maybe people, not a podcast, sorry, vlog, that the audiences will maybe clown them or embarrass them or shame them, etc., etc. But then quickly they realized that, so what if a few people make fun of me, but still have put something out there. And then I'll put another, and another, and another. So that barrier needs to be broken mentally for you, so that you can put things out here that I've been wanting. I know if I sit with each and every one of you here, there's things, minimum 5 things you've been wanting to do that you've never done. Tell me the prophet of God is lying. Is the prophet lying? You will write in the notepad. There are things you've been wanting to do. 2020 came. We said we'll do it in COVID because you're not going anywhere. Then COVID came, then we were locked in, and then we didn't do those things. And then 2021, and now we're in 2025, praise God. But we still haven't done the things. Okay, not 5, let me not give pressure, but at least 3. Yeah? I can tell you one, I've been wanting to go back to school. There's just the barriers we put for ourselves. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do with sitting in first years? Actually, they're 19. I'm 41, guys. I guarantee you. Sasa nafanya now. Hey, GZ. Ooh, really? But you see, the time is going. Yeah, because if I went in 2019, I'd be done. I wouldn't be worried that I'm going to be in first year in, because I want a different degree, and I'm going to be a first year when I'm 41 or 42. I've already finished, but I'm just here, locked in my head. No one is locking me, it's just me locking myself. And so you can imagine all the other things that you are already thinking about. You're not breaking your own barriers, and so you are able to even lead yourself to greatness, I want that. I'm thinking, maybe it's for other people. Who said I need to go to that table? Then they'll tell me, don't be here. But if they've not told me anything, it's upon me to walk to that table and partake in whatever is being offered at that table. Do you realize how we hold ourselves back?
Yes.
In small, subtle ways? And we don't want to volunteer for things. And I understand, sometimes my volunteer being taken advantage of, so I understand that. I encourage wisdom and discernment. But before we even go outside of ourselves, maybe just to break our own internal barriers, okay? Yeah, who said you must close the curtains at 6 o'clock? Close them at 7. Close them at 7. Fight yourself to do things a bit different, isn't it? Yeah. And then now when you lead yourself to a place where you are not rushed, you're walking in your own lane, your own pace, your own race. And if you say to change lanes, change them. Let us see you moving from one thing to another. Don't worry about being told, oh, unajua unafaa ukae hivi. No, who said? Who said, guys? Okay? Who said? If you don't change your career, you can change it anytime. I'm talking to Violette. Don't worry. The other thing I want to do is just encourage you to walk in 4 different, I'll call them pillars for the sake of this conversation. One, the pillar of authenticity. I don't want to use the word fake because I feel fake is it's an attack. I don't want to use the word fake, but I want to urge us to walk in authenticity. Authentic to yourself, authentic to your values and your beliefs, authentic to the things that make your heart happy, authentic to the things that make your heart calm. We used to think that when you have butterflies is when you have found the one. And then we were told by psychologists, any psychologists in the room to back me up or to shed more light on what I want to say? Do you have a psychologist in the room? Okay, so I'm the authority. So, I'm gonna lie to you. Psychologists say that when you have butterflies, it's not that you're in love with this person, okay? It's just your nervous system warning you, you're in danger, it's red flags. That when you finally meet the one, you'll be so calm, you'll actually be able to sleep, and if you're like Violet, you'll drool a little. Because you're that relaxed around them. They're good for your nervous system. But these butterflies, So many times, when you go back to authenticity, we're in friendships where we're not, you're in this friendship and you're like, hey, you're very unsteady. Anything that's not giving you, calmness, like, can you just relax? Can you take off your jacket? Can you, take off your hairband? You don't have to have your hair so high because it's the way you have to look, Anywhere you're at where it's giving you constant, there's the initial nerves and that's okay. But if you're always in a constant state of literally walking on eggshells, walking on eggshells, that's not good for you. And a lot of us were in those situations where it's eggshells, it's mental eggshells, it's social eggshells, financial eggshells, spiritual eggshells. Maybe you go to this church because you hear that is where there's an anointing, but you're not so sure you should be here. So when you're being authentic to yourself, you'll be like, you know what? Let me just go back to where I was raised. I'll be comfortable here. I'm calm here. The songs soothe me. They speak to me, and I go home feeling refreshed. And I'm just using the place of worship as an example. There's so many other things that you can think of right now where you're like, am I even being authentic wearing these lashes? Guys, like, really nice. So walk in authenticity, and you find that now you're doing things that totally are aligned to you, to your talents. And of course, when it comes to work, the authenticity part might be muted a little bit because we have to pay bills, But yeah, I saw that I saw that. We have to pay bills. But every now and then you have to find ways to move towards work or move towards activities that earn you a living that are within your natural life in terms of your talents, your abilities, and the things you have a quick aptitude towards. So then you don't stress yourself. Because again, stress is not a natural state of being for anybody. Okay? Yeah. Stress is not a natural state of being. You shoot up your cortisol levels, you have high blood pressure, God forbid, now you're sick, those things. So let us work towards constantly moving towards authenticity in our relationships, in our activities, even in how we spend our money. Sometimes, okay, come and impress Violet, give her $1 million, but it's okay to feel weak. It's okay to experience moments where you just need a break. That is okay. But remember you're resilient. You're a resilient nature. Remember your resilient superpower. And remember that nothing really can conquer you for long. You cannot stay down for long. You have to get up again because that is your superpower. Own it, and it is okay to be powerful. Okay? It is okay to be powerful. Being powerful doesn't mean aggressive or like you're ready to go. Being powerful is enough to say that, you can charge your phone over there. You're powerful enough that you can charge your sister if she comes to you and she's low. You can be her charging point. Does that make sense? So you don't have to go around telling people that you're powerful. Just know that if Nani comes there, ata plug too. Apate nguvu kidogo to move on. The other thing I wanted to encourage today as we walk in the journey to flourish and to live is collaboration. I might have mentioned it earlier, but I really want to drive it some more. We really need to collaborate with one another. For us to be here in this room, there's been a lot of collaborations. The lovely ushers are from a company called Next Plus Dynamics. Next Plus Dynamics is run by a very young lady. She's doing amazing things in the ushering world, in the hosting world. Can I ask you to stand up and wave to everybody? Yes. Thank you. So it's all about collaboration, about seeing how we can pull together, how we can grow together, how we can push forward to the next step together. I may not make the next step right now, but I'm holding you so that you can make your step. And what you do is that you look back and you pull me along with you. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because then you say we must all go out of the door at the same time, we won't fit. We won't be fast enough to get there. But if I go, I make space for the next person to come through, and then finally we all are out of this room in a wonderful way, and maybe even faster than we expected to leave the room. Why? Because we got into formation and we started to collaborate, isn't it? Yeah, so I really want to urge us to collaborate with one another and get into a sense of empowerment. And when I talk about empowerment, it's not the common conversation of empowerment where we say, oh, people have been left behind. No, I want to talk to you that you empower yourself. You know very well what your skill set is looking like. Say, okay, maybe I'm an accountant and I've gotten to this level. And if I want to get to that other level where people earn X amounts, because I think there's tiers to this thing, then maybe you can go and get a course. And with that course, then you have empowered yourself to get into the next level of your career. That's an example of empowerment. You realize that you lack spiritually, you're not as strong as you desire to be. You figure out, is it the fellowship that I belong to? Is that I don't even belong to a fellowship? Maybe that's the first step. I should get into some Bible study, something, I should plug into a certain community that will empower me spiritually. So empowerment is so personal as much as it is group work. You have to be able to step up to the table and say, this is what I want. Maybe you're not physically empowered and you're like, okay, fine, I need to get sneakers and start walking, and that will empower you physically and even in terms of your health. And maybe when you're walking, you realize I don't want to just hear the noise of cars. So maybe you put in a podcast and listen to something encouraging, and maybe it's going to last you, it's going to be a 30-minute podcast, but by that time you're back in the house. You've gained physically and you've gained mentally. And also your social empowerment. See, these are my friends and I love them, but the friends that got me here may not be the ones to take me there. So you might decide, okay, I want to keep my friends, I don't want to lose my friends. So what do? Maybe let me get a mentor. Maybe let me get a sponsor. you know? Someone who will open doors for me, someone who will mention me where I need to be mentioned. So that's a kind of empowerment I'm talking about today. The things that take you to the next step of your life, you know? Maybe you've had your hairstylist forever, but then now you're being invited to red carpet events and your hairstylist is not getting it. And it's okay. So you move to the ones who get what the stylist for that level of, you know, celebrity needs to be done, you know. So you empower yourself by one, looking at yourself honestly and seeing what it is that you have already and celebrating it. Because when you celebrate what you have, it gives you, you know, it doesn't put you in a mood of lack, it puts you in a mood of I have. So you're already happy. So when you do see maybe your blind side or the part that is looking like it's lacking, you're even excited to be like, if I have this, then why can't this move to this, you know? If you realize that, yes, I'm a fantastic person, I have all the vibes, but man, I'm always late to things. So maybe get a watch, maybe get a reminder, you know, those kinds of things. So that you empower yourself day by day. And this is a journey of a lifetime. You chisel yourself until you're 95 years old. Because even the old people, they still tell you they struggle with a thing or two. You'll be so surprised. Because I always imagine that maybe when you're 69, you're perfect. But then they're like, no, there's all these things you're fighting against, you know. So go for empowerment, empower each other, speak the truth to one another in love, okay? And the other thing I want to say that is so important is, how many of you guys here have heard the word manifesting? Tuko wengi, you've heard that word. So for me, when I think about manifesting, it's about calling the things that are not as though they are. So I'm a Christian, and one of the, maybe I'd be amiss if I don't share with you a Bible verse. It's in Romans 4:17. Just write it down, then you can check it out. Romans 4:17. You can just write it down. So Romans 4:17, and you can read all the versions there are, so that then you see it differently. It encourages us to call the things that are not as though they are. So many times, because of the environment that we're in, and it's not our fault, by the way, we found ourselves here. The environment is very critical. The environment criticizes before it can compliment, isn't it? The environment urges you to work harder before it tells you, wow, this is a good job, you know? The environment tells you, well, thanks for this, but why didn't you do the other? You know, so you hardly hear full-time compliments, and you can really get into a space where, or rather quickly get into a space where you think that there's nothing going on for yourself. But I want you to urge you today, if you think you're not beautiful, call yourself beautiful. You know? It's just like, I'm not saying you're not beautiful, it's just in your mind. So when you call the things that are not as though they are, then you start to experience those things. And it is a God-backed statement. I don't want you to think that I'm taking you to voodoo. No, it is God-backed. Call yourself beautiful. Call yourself successful. Call yourself flourishing. Call yourself a leader. Okay? Call yourself wise. Call yourself lovely. Call yourself prosperous. Call yourself healthy, even the days that you feel so sick that you can't even get out of bed. Call yourself strong enough to persevere with a challenge that you set upon, you know? For those of you who run marathons, I'll join you maybe, but you know, call yourself a winner and manage those 21 kilometers or 42 kilometers, you know? Call yourself brilliant. So then you're doing your work knowing that you're brilliant, and it gives you a different mood altogether. When you do your work and I'm standing there telling you, Harakisha, you think you'll do it faster? Yes, so the voice in your head should not be the Harakisha voice. The voice in your head should be, well done, let's keep going. Okay, that's done, let's move on to the next one. Good, you know, be that voice. Keep on calling yourself the things, you know, call the things that you think are not, call them as though they are. And you see such a big difference in your life. And I want us to all, like, hold on to that, please. Next time someone tells you manifesting is wrong, lead them to that verse. Tafadhali, okay? Yes, lead them to that verse. Because how then will you flourish if we don't call ourselves wonderful things? If we don't speak life into our situations, how will we flourish? We'll leave this room just the same way we came, isn't it? And then next week, how are you? And I'm like, Allah, you're supposed to tell me I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm blessed, you know? And maybe you're going to say the word wealthy because I'll be like, oh, parado, you know? But don't worry, it will come, isn't it? Yeah. In the spirit of collaboration, in the spirit of growing together, I also wanted to launch something very important, or not to launch, but to introduce something very important. At Networking in Health, we are setting up a membership club for our community. Our membership club is basically a place where now we can literally be practical in the growth that we're talking about, be practical in the collaborations we're talking about, be practical in the way that we flourish. So we're setting up a panel where if you do have a business and you're in this room, you get on the panel and you become a service provider on the panel. So that way we support each other. How else are we going to grow? Yeah? Yes. Thank you. So that way we support each other. So if you're running legal services, we come to you fast before we go anywhere. You know? Whatever business you're running, whatever it is that you need, we are putting it on the panel. So then all of us can tap into this fast before going anywhere. And this is not just about discounts, this is just also about growing together, because we are being conjoined, we are moving information, so then no one is left behind. So this is something that, because we have your email addresses, we will send you the write-ups and you'll read through it and you're able to plug in and become a member. If you do want to offer your services to be on the panel, even better. So then it's a lifetime altogether, you know. So we go from today knowing that you're going to flourish in practical ways. So it's not just talking now, we are acting on it, okay? Yeah, we'll give you, of course, convenience and access. And then when you're coming for the events, you know that there's a discount for the tickets, all right? Who doesn't want a discount? I love discounts, okay? And then you can have, basically be in a community of women who are basically taking care of each other and looking out for each other. The other thing I want to say about the membership club, of course there'll be business promotions. So every now and then you're spotlighting a business. So you get an email that tells you this week is spotlighting X and X and X, and then you keep it in mind. You may not have to act on it immediately, but you have it in mind for the next time that you need a certain service. You're like, it's within the membership panel as well. And then, of course, the unmatched sisterhood and support, because we're coming to you fast. We're coming to draw from you fast before we go anywhere. So, of course, before I want to go to buy a car, I'm like, is there a car dealer in here? You know? And I'll check if we have a car dealer in the membership. I'll come to you fast. And, of course, if you come to my business, and I know you've come from Networking in Hills, I have to act a certain way. I have to be super professional, because only when I'm professional, then you're going to come back to me again and again, and even tell others about me. Yeah, I like to do fun things at these events. I like to add little things. Did you enjoy the violin? Yes. You did? Yes. Of course, serenade dance. Yeah. Oh, fantastic! So the other thing I'm also doing today, we have a caricature artist at the back of the room. So you can go to him if you want a cartoon style of you drawn. And that's something nice to carry home with you. Otherwise, thank you so much for coming to Networking in Heels. I am so excited that you gave me this time and to hear me and for me to share my heart with you. I am humbled to have you here this morning. It is a very big morning for me. You might not think it, but it is huge for me to have you all here. Thank you so much, and karibuni sana.